Jot these notes down now. How to get the most out of these 2 days. Number 1, be thankful for what you already have. That's first. If you're thankful for as far as you've gotten in your life so far, the ideas that brought you at least here, good economic ideas, good health ideas, association, the influence of others, teaching, training, all of that got you here. So the first key is to be thankful. Here's what Thanksgiving does. Opens up the windows to receive more. If you become a cynic, sure enough, it shuts the doors, shuts the windows. Very little comes your way if you become cynical. So that's number 1, be thankful. And, we live in a free society. Most of the world was, ruled by dictators. The last century, the 20th century. And now that's all changed. So we've got a lot to be thankful for. Here's the next one. Be eager to learn. I know we've got some very successful people, not just those that are going to present today, tomorrow, but successful people already in the audience. Some of you, if we knew how successful you really are, we would turn this podium over to you, right? And I'd be happy to come, sit on the front row and take good notes. So I know we've got some very successful people already here in the audience. But be eager to learn no matter how rich you are, how far along you are. Be eager to learn some more. We in the Millionaires Club invite a billionaire once in a while to come talk to us. And he says, well, you guys are doing okay, but couldn't you try a little harder? Couldn't you do a little better? So no matter how far along you are, always be ready to welcome somebody's experience, somebody that's willing to share, because the next good idea could multiply your future by 2, by 3, by 5, by 10. And if you continually attend seminars, lectures, right, the sermon on Sunday morning, a little house meeting of people meeting to talk things over, if you consistently attend good seminars, good lectures, good presentations, make this note. Some of them will be life-changing. And you don't know which ones, so you just consistently go. One session may be standard, another session may be ordinary. Then the next one could be life-changing. Because sometimes it's the timing. And then it's like a lock that needs 4 numbers to open it up. You attend one lecture and you get 1 number. You go to another session, you get another number. And then finally you get the 3rd number. Then you attend a session and you get number 4. And the lock comes open and there's the door. So I said a little prayer in my hotel room before I left to come to this presentation today. And I said, I hope for many of you in this audience today, this will be your number 4. You've already gotten good information up until now, and just maybe the atmosphere is right, the time is right, you're ready, we are ready. This could be a very important day for you. You might look back on this day a year from now, 4 or 5 years from now, and say, that was one of the days that turned my life around. I've never been the same. So give yourself that chance. And I just hope my seminar makes that kind of contribution. Here's what's next that's exciting for me. And I'm sure it's exciting for you. When your name appears in someone's testimonial. When someone says, here's the person that found me, here's the person that got me started, here's the person that wouldn't let me quit, here's the person that gave me more reasons for staying than for leaving, and here's the person who believed in me until I could believe in myself, and then they mention your name. That's a great experience. You can't buy it with money, but you can earn it by sharing ideas. And you don't have to give a lecture like I'm doing today from the podium with this many people. Just one-on-one at the coffee shop, right? Sharing a cup of coffee. You recommend a book or you say something that's really helpful. Later, someone may say, that conversation we had at that breakfast meeting really made a difference in my life. So everybody can earn that kind of return when your name appears in someone's testimonial. Then I love to go around the world and share my story in country after country. It's so exciting for me. From where I came from, farm country in Idaho, in America, to have the opportunity to come to Singapore, famous city Singapore, and have this many people to come and sit and listen to what I have to say, it's an incredibly awesome experience. So, be thankful, be eager to learn. Here's the next one that's going to be a little difficult for 2 whole days, and that's to listen intently. You know, a lot of our life is going on outside this building. Our family, our business. So a lot of our life, is out there. And sometimes it's not that easy to just set aside what's going on in our life out there and really concentrate on what's happening inside here. But do your best. Okay. Here's what's next. It would be good if we had a good debate on some of the ideas I'm going to share with you. Someone says, Mr. Rohn, I'm not too sure, that's really a correct philosophy. It'd be nice to have a good debate about what I'm going to share with you. But since we don't have time to do that, here's what I am going to ask you to do. Debate later. Go back over the notes you're going to take here and say, I wonder if that applies to me. I wonder if Mr. Rohn was really correct when he talked about that philosophy. So here's what's important, to debate good ideas. Is it good for me? Is it the best way to say it? Is it the best way to approach it? Okay. So we don't have time to get into a good debate today, but later. And here's why. You want to be not a follower, but you want to be a student. You read one book on nutrition, this book says if you do what this book says, you'll live forever. You read the next book on nutrition and it says if you do what the first book says, you'll die young. So somebody says to me, Mr. Rohn, which book should I follow? Here's the answer. Neither one. So make this note. Read both books and make up your own mind. That's the key. Read both books. One says one way, one says another. Read them both, and then you start deciding. That's what good education is all about. So don't be a follower, be a student. But I've got some good ideas I think that'll be helpful. I started listening to these ideas when I was 25 years old. I quit school at age 19. Not good. My reasoning was, I'm smart enough to get a job. How much smarter do I need to be? So with that sort of shallow thinking, I quit school, age 19, and went to work. A little while later, got married, started my little family, and I'm struggling, doing the best I can, but falling a little behind, and once in a while a creditor calling saying, you told us the check was in the mail, and I'm sort of embarrassed by that. Finally, age 25. A little discouraged with where I was, not destitute, but not doing that well. I heard a knock on my door. Fortunately, I was home alone. I go to the door, open it up, and there's a little Girl Scout, about this tall, selling Girl Scout cookies. And she gave me one of the finest presentations I've ever heard. Girl Scouts, the best organization in the world. And we've got these cookies you can buy to support the Girl Scouts. Whatever flavor you want, only $2 for a box of cookies. And with a big smile, she very politely asked me to buy. No problem, I wanted to buy. Big problem. I didn't have $2 in my pocket. I was so embarrassed. I'm a grown man. I live in America. I've been to 1.5 years of college. I've got a little family going, right? And I don't have $2 in my pocket for Girl Scout cookies. And I didn't want to tell her that. So I did what I thought was next best. I lied to her. And I said, look, we've already bought lots of Girl Scout cookies. We've still got plenty. in the house. We haven't eaten yet." And she said, "Well, that's wonderful. Thank you very much." And she leaves. When she walks away, I say to myself, I don't want to live like this anymore. I mean, how low can you get lying to a Girl Scout? I mean, that's about as low as you can get. I promised myself that day it would never happen again. So I started making my search to find somebody who could teach me, mentor me to change. Not long after that, a friend of mine had gone to work for someone that he started talking about. He said, "Jim Rohn, you got to meet this man I've gone to work for. He's rich, but he's easy to talk to. He's got an incredible philosophy of life and business." And the more he talked, the more I thought, well, I've got to meet this man. So shortly after that, I had a chance to meet this man. His name was Mr. Earl Schoaf. When I met him, sure enough, obviously he was rich. But he was easy to talk to. Within just a little time of the conversation, I said to myself, I would give anything if I could be like this man. And I would give anything if I could be around someone like him. Perhaps he would teach me how to reach the place he has reached. Well, to make a long story short, this man invited me to join his company, and I worked for him for 7 years. Actually, the company for 7 years, because he died 5 years after I met him. So I worked for him for 5 years, then 2 more years. And during the 5 years that I was associated with him, the ideas he shared with me totally changed my life. By the time I was 31, 32 years old, I was a multimillionaire. So he taught me economics as well as all the rest. But it was so incredible, after the Girl Scout experience, to finally find someone who was willing to teach me how to make up for those errors and mistakes I had made the first 6 years of my economic life, and over the next 6, 7 years, totally change everything. And some of the ideas I want to share with you today came from that 5-year experience with Mr. Earl Schoaf and the ideas he shared that totally changed my life. And I want those ideas to be valuable for you, at least to think about, take good notes, and see if maybe I've got something that might be valuable for your life and for your future. So, after that experience, I moved to Beverly Hills, California. Where else would a boy from the farms of Idaho, right, milking cows in those old days as a kid growing up, where would you want to move if you got rich and became successful? And in America, of course, the answer was Beverly Hills. So I moved to Beverly Hills, and a friend of mine said, I belong to a service club, the Rotary Club, and he said, it would be interesting if I put together a luncheon meeting and had you come and tell your success story. He said, if I put it together, would you come and tell your story? And I said, sure. So I did this talk, this luncheon talk, and he said, we'll call your talk, Idaho Farm Boy Makes It to Beverly Hills. So I said, okay, suits me. So I gave this little talk on how my life totally changed by being mentored by someone important. And before the day was over, I got 2 or 3 more invitations. Come and tell your story. Come and tell your story. So that's really how I got into the public speaking business, was by invitation to come and tell my success story. And that was all those years ago. Once in a while I would talk to a high school class, a college class, and then one day a man said to me, I've listened to your little talk now 2 or 3 times, and I've got this company going. I've got some management and salespeople. Would you come and make a presentation to my management and my salespeople? And he said, if you would, I'd be happy to pay you. And I thought, incredible. Could I really share my story and get paid? And sure enough, I made this presentation, got paid. That started me on a brand new career. Because I'm primarily an entrepreneur. I love to be in business. But having an invitation to come tell my story got me started doing now what I'm doing around the world. And that brought me here today to Singapore. So that's a little bit about my background. And now enough of that. I want to get started and give you some good notes. So if you're ready, say, I'm ready. Here's number one, Jim Rohn's view of the 21st century. Okay, I travel all around the world. I know business leaders from every industry you can imagine. I've been out here for 40 plus years, and so I can give you some pretty good advice. Here's number one, my view of the 21st century. So take these notes. Number one, unprecedented opportunity. My personal opinion. This is going to be the best time in the history of the human race. The beginning of the 21st century and the beginning of the 7th millennium. A millennium is 1,000-year period. We've had 6 so far. Written history, 6 millenniums. Now we're starting the 7th millennium. And some scholars think that this beginning of the 7th millennium is going to be an unusual time for the people on this world, the human race. And I tend to agree. Okay? Hopefully the tragic wars of the past are now finished in our generation, right? Last century. Now this new century, unprecedented opportunity. We've got the technology, transportation. I'll soon be on an airplane this afternoon flying to Los Angeles on Singapore Airlines, 17 and a half hours. 5 movies, 7 meals, and you're there, right? When the Concorde was flying, I used to fly the Concorde. 3 hours from London to New York. Incredible. If you fly the Concorde, you can see 2 sunsets in one day. If you're in London, watch the sun go down. When you get to Los Angeles, you see the sun go down the second time. It's unbelievable. You can have breakfast in Paris, lunch in London, and dinner in New York all on the same day if you fly the Concorde. 1,300 miles an hour. And you meet interesting people. I met Henry Kissinger, famous American, on the Concorde. I met Christopher Reeve before his accident on the Concorde. I said to my business partner, we're going to be okay. Superman's on this plane. I mean, how lucky can you get? So, incredible. Okay, we got transportation, we got technology, we got everything. For every industry, for every country. Guess where the new millionaires are coming from? China. Right now, 237,000 new millionaires in China. Guess where the new billionaires are coming from? India. It's a whole new world. Opportunity, unprecedented for every country, for every industry, for everybody. So make that note. Unprecedented opportunity. 21st century. Here's number 2. Keen competition. Yes, there's going to be opportunity for every country, but the countries now have to compete. Not just one to the other, but worldwide. The competition for all of us now is becoming more global. A job becomes available in California. Question, does it go to India or does it stay in California? It depends on who's better qualified. So there's going to be unprecedented opportunity, but the competition is going to be stronger. But hey, all of us here are interested in competition. That's how we grow. That's how we get better. See if we can't be the best, okay? Unprecedented opportunity with keen competition. Now, since that's Jim Rohn's scenario for the 21st century, how can we best be prepared, especially economically, to take advantage of the opportunities of the 21st century? So take these notes. Number 1, for economic safety in the 21st century, you need more than one skill. More than one skill. A few months ago, General Motors shut down some of their plants in America. 15,000 people lost their jobs. Some that had been working for General Motors for 15, 20 years. Suddenly their jobs were gone. Now they tell us we're in financial trouble. Our jobs have disappeared. They shut down the factories. And why would they be in financial difficulty even after being, working for 15, 20 years? Here's one of the reasons. They only had one skill. That's it. If the man would have taken accounting 2 nights a week for the last 3 or 4 years, right? Accounting, instead of just working on the line, putting wheels on the car, if he had taken an extra class, had an extra skill, so that when the job disappeared, he now was ready with some new skills for his new job. Okay, so jot that down. For the 21st century, you need to learn more than one skill. Here's number 2, which you already have an advantage. You need to learn more than one language. It's interesting to come to Singapore and everybody, I don't need translation here, everybody understands English. This is an advantage. I go to India, don't need translation. I go to the Scandinavian countries. If my English is good, they understand my English. Is my English okay? Okay, all right. In the Scandinavian school systems, you must learn at least 4 languages. 3 they assign and 1 you can choose. So that when you graduate from the Scandinavian school systems, you now know at least 4 languages. It's going to be one of the advantages of the 21st century. More than one skill and more than one language. Some of my business colleagues who speak 3, 4 languages earn $3-4 million a year. $1 million a year per language. Leon Weisbein from Russia. I went to Novosibirsk, Siberia, 2 or 3 times over the last 12, 13 years teaching capitalism. Leon speaks 3 languages, makes $3 million a year. He just told me not long ago, he said, I think I'll learn another language, make another $1 million. So, keep that in mind. Now, if you think the time has passed you by to learn that 2nd, 3rd, 4th language, jot this down now. Give it as a gift for your children. That 2nd, 3rd, 4th language can be so valuable. And the time to learn them is when you're young, because kids can learn them all. I asked a teacher one time, how many languages can a child learn? And she said, as many as you will teach them. They don't lack intelligence. They don't lack curiosity. They only lack a teacher. So give it as a gift to your children. The 2nd, most of you, of course, have got 2. But that 3rd language, that 4th language would be valuable.